Hey everyone, Jared Sandler with you, joined by the great Bryan Broaddus. Want to talk some Cowboys with you today, Broaddus. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
I appreciate you having me, man. Good to visit with you again.
I love the hat, representing Green Hill.
I'll tell you what, I love Green Hill. I'm a DISD kid. I mean, that's the Dallas Independent School District. Wasn't smart enough like you and Bennett, my son, to get into Green Hill. So I will have to do with what I have to do. But happy to represent.
If you are watching this and you either are a very athletic young boy or girl, or you know a very athletic young boy or girl, Bryan is the foremost booster for Green Hill. He will slip you some stuff under the table.
Absolutely.
But big thing. Listen, Tony Banks is the head coach of the football team, Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Right.
Got a great basketball program, great school. I mean, what more?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like we're recruiting that. We got a 6'9" kid coming in on this basketball. I'm excited. It'd be nice to hang a couple new banners in that. It's been a long time since we've hung a banner in that gym. I know our girls basketball team has done very, very well here recently, but it'd be nice to get some players in, and maybe we get some of these players on the football side too. That would be nice too.
That would absolutely be awesome. All right, so got some Cowboys questions. Some are coming from me, others coming from people who knew that we were going to have this conversation and said,
okay,
hey,
great.
Brought us this question. So the first one, this might be tough to answer, but we'll throw it out there. A lot of people wondering, all right, so we've heard we know all about Jason Garrett's shortcomings, and whenever a new coach is hired, you talk so much about all the good things, and that's certainly been the case with Mike McCarthy. And there's been certainly dialogue about why things went wrong in Green Bay, but just from like an X's and O's standpoint, without having a board to draw on, what are the things that stand out to you about Mike McCarthy that might be different from Jason Garrett, with the caveat that what we know about Mike McCarthy is with a totally different personnel group, with a totally different quarterback, but maybe things that you think would translate or transfer over to the Cowboys?
You know what? And that is a difficult question, because now with Mike McCarthy being off for a year, what did he learn in that year off? He had a chance to evaluate. The great offensive coordinators and play callers in this league steal from each other. John Gruden, I used to watch John Gruden steal plays. I used to watch Andy Reid steal plays from other offensive coordinators and then try and get them into our game plans in Green Bay when I was with Mike Holmgren. So, with Mike, though, you're going to get a guy. Mike is a guy that likes to, with the bunch formations, things like that, the 3 wide receiver packages, we call that the 11 personnel stuff, with involve the tight end and some stuff. And, I felt like that Mike, at the end of his run at Green Bay, got a little stale. And he got stale because I think he quit because, and the word quit is kind of strong, but I'll use it. He got to a quarterback that didn't trust him anymore. He got to a point where he had a guy that's like, you know what, that's not going to work. That's not, and so coaches get frustrated, and maybe they knew the end was near. Maybe they knew, listen, they're going to get rid of me before they get rid of this quarterback. And I think in Green Bay, we started to see some things where Mike had just kind of given up. He listen, I can't do anymore. I can't help. But when Mike wants to attack you, he'll go with the multiple wide receivers packages. He'll move the ball down the field. He likes to kind of spread you out and run the ball when he can. He's very mindful of just not totally abandoning the run, even though he had, Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, and he had Brett Favre for a while there too. But, he's very mindful of how to try to attack you, how to try and set up some matchups. I think the thing with Jason Garrett, and we even had this with, last year with Kellen Moore, and, Stephon Gilmore's come out with New England and said, hey, listen, I knew what routes they were going to run. I knew how they were going to attack us. So if you get into a situation where defensive backs have an understanding and watching your tape that if you get in this formation that you're going to run these routes, there's different combinations of routes. And my hope is that Mike McCarthy has taken a look at the personnel that he has. He's got CeeDee Lamb now. He has an understanding of what CeeDee Lamb can potentially do out of the slot. Maybe he steals some ideas, from Oklahoma and the way they attack people. Create a couple of plays where they're like, okay, CeeDee Lamb can really do this. Okay, Amari Cooper can really do this. oh, by the way, Michael Gallup can do this. Doug Nussmeier, the tight ends coach, is going, oh, hey, he's now the quarterback's coach. Well, hey, remember we have Blake Jarwin here. And Blake Jarwin can do this down the field. So I think that what we might see is something totally different than what we saw in Green Bay. I think he's going to try and influence Kellen Moore and say, listen, you had this at your as your ability to use. Find a way to take better advantage of, hey, when I was studying the Ravens and when I was studying the 49ers and when I was studying, these are some concepts that I took from them that we need to incorporate in their offense. So we probably won't see, I'm sorry this is such a long answer, but we probably won't see the Green Bay stuff. And, you understand Green Bay because you follow Green Bay. You've watched them play.
You can say it. I'm a huge Packers fan. I don't hide it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They're fans that watch their team and they think, well, what happened to the creativity? What happened to the wide receiver? What happened to Jordy Nelson down the field? What happened to the various attacks that we had? And I think you get a little stale because you start to quit because your quarterback's not buying into what you're doing. He has his own ideas. So this is really a brand new canvas, I think, for Mike McCarthy. Even though he's been in the league a long time, he's got a second-year play caller in Kellen Moore that still could be influenced, can still be molded into how he wants the games to be called. So I think from that point as a Cowboy fan, you have to be excited because maybe this year off brought new, not only new ideas, but maybe mirrored some things that you were doing really, really well here with the Cowboys once he studied that tape as well.
All right, so you mentioned some names in there, and I know it's not a total swap because Blake Jarwin was around last year, but this year, Jarwin and Lamb, last year, Cobb and Witten. What are the things that Jarwin and Lamb can do to this offense that maybe Cobb and Witten weren't able to do?
Yeah, I thought that really with Witten and then Cobb, those were really good third down options. I had seen the end for Jason Witten. Now, I did not see – the end, and I mean like of down, really the downfield player. Now, 3rd and 6, gain of 7, gain of 8, gain of 7. I saw that kind of guy.
Yeah.
19 yards in the red zone, and early in the season they got him going in some red zone stuff, but then it fell off. It just completely fell off. He was a liability as a blocker. I think it affected the way that he played. He knew he couldn't get things done that way. So all of a sudden, we didn't see the big plays down the field like we'd had in the past. I think with Blake Jarwin, you do have the ability to stretch. I think you have the ability to attack seams. I think you have the ability. Now, the run after catch, stuff like that, that's something we'll see from Jarwin. He'll catch the ball. He'll make a couple miss, and then, it's a little bit more of a gain. The same thing with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was one of the best after the catch. Him and the kid Judy were two of the best in the college football that I saw last year that were run after catch. Throw them the ball, it's an 11-yard gain. Now it's a 45-yard gain because of run after catch. So I think with those two players, it gives you that ability to make more of those explosive plays. That's what the NFL is. You watch enough games, you understand that. Fans out there that are watching this right now, they see the teams that are making explosive plays. They see the Kansas City Chiefs. They see what's going on in New Orleans. They see those teams making those plays down the field. And I think that the switch with Cobb and Witten to Lamb and Jarwin will give you more of those explosive plays.
I want to ask you about Lamb. Understandably, we've spent so much time talking about all the great things he can do. I mean, how versatile he is. You can use him in the slots and outside. He can be effective right at the line of scrimmage and then intermediate and deep. And I'm curious. So, what would be a concern for you? What is something to look out for that you either are unsure of or has been a weakness for him?
Well, that's a great question because on our show the other day on the G-Bag Nation, we did Gavin Dawson brought up a point about some receivers that were picked in that particular area, Coleman and Dotson and guys like that, that didn't exactly, they came in the league with high expectations, down the field players, big time finishers, things like that. And so, you're wondering like, okay, is he fall in that realm? Does he fall in that mode of player? I don't think so. I think he's better than those guys, even though those guys, Treadwell, those guys were all top players and all deserve to be first round picks. I think the only thing that could really hold CeeDee Lamb back, though, is that the nuances of the game. And I know that's kind of just a very general statement to say, because wide receivers in their first year generally have problems with the route running. They have problems with how defenses play them. They have problems with, okay, I get press man. And I mean, press man, a guy that's walked up, breathing the same air you're breathing on the line of scrimmage, that close. And now you have to escape in order to get into your route. And in this day and age of the National Football League, it's a little bit different when Oklahoma is playing, say, Kansas, and they're playing press man and he escapes and there's time to throw the ball. Now we're going to throw the ball. In the NFL, I mean, if you don't release off the line and win off the line instantly and get in your route, you're going to disrupt the timing of the quarterback. You're going to allow the rush to get home. You're going to affect the way the play develops. So the only thing I think that could hold CeeDee Lamb back is if he doesn't quickly adjust fast enough to the game and how it's played, especially if they don't give him free access. And I mean free access in they play off and let him run routes. If they play off and let him run routes, he'll catch balls all day. But if they press him and make him have to fight for space to get open, that could be a little bit of a problem. And he's going to have to learn how to escape and play that way.
All right. I know you've addressed this a ton on the show, but, I think people are still really fascinated by this. From your experience, how would you characterize the challenge that all rookies face with the current climate, not just the Cowboys rookies, but then on top of that, the Cowboys face with not an entirely new coaching staff, but a lot of new coaches, including the head coach?
Yeah, this is going to be tough. And this is why the league would give you an extra week with those OTAs and mini camps and stuff like that, because they wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page. And, let's be honest, there's people like yourself that probably learn, books. You sit down, read a book, you pick something up. There's a lot of people that learn, like myself, that learn hands-on. I had to learn how to cook crawfish by doing it hands-on. I watched some things and tried to learn, but I hands-on. There's and that's no different than players. Sometimes players need to be on the field in order to see the mistakes. Watch Amari Cooper run a route. And if you're a young receiver, you're like, okay, I don't have that kind of talent, but I do see a little of the nuances of things that he's doing that I can maybe apply to my game. So the virtual stuff, yeah, great. Are all players picking up virtual stuff? Yeah, some are. The Jared Sandlers of the world are. Yeah, the Bryan Broadduses of the world aren't, because they need to be out on the field learning and picking those things up by watching, and then also their own experience of going through the drills themselves.
You're giving me too much credit. I watch my wife do the dishes regularly, and I still apparently can't figure out how to do it. So,
are you a bad dryer or a bad washer?
I think I'm pretty decent at both. I'm a good dryer, and I'm a very willing participant, by the way.
Yeah.
I probably am not as good at. I think it's maybe my level of focus. It's not that I'm not able to do it. It's that
do you talk? Yeah. Do you talk while you dry?
And listen to something. I'm usually listening to you guys, or right. I got my phone, music or something, a podcast. That's what helps me kind of get by. Or if there's a sporting event on or something, I'll have the TV on. But I think by like if I've got like a bunch of dishes to do, all right, we're not talking about one meal's worth. I'm fine. Right. But if I've got like a sink that's full of stuff, I'm trying to like get through stuff. I'm trying to be efficient and quick. And every once in a while, maybe a little more than every once in a while, I miss a spot before I put it in the dishwasher, and that's no bueno.
If you're a cooker, you got to clean as you go. But yeah, you got to be mindful, because if you leave food trapped that gets caught underneath a plate that you don't see. Maybe you've cleaned the actual surface, but then all of a sudden, though, there's that little piece of spaghetti or pasta that has latched itself to the bottom of the plate, and then you try and put that away, and they see that. That's grounds for – that's 2 minutes for, that's 2 minutes in the box right there. You're not going to be asked to come back and do that again.
I also get stressed. I love cooking, and I love cooking for others. But the minute I'm done cooking, before I even want to eat, I just want to get everything cleaned up. And I know I've got.
I clean as I cook. I'm very much of a. I do a lot of recipes, Cajun recipes and stuff that require time where you say,
you can do that.
Let's simmer for 25 minutes. So as I'm cleaning knives, I'm cleaning cutting boards, I'm cleaning all that stuff as I go along. So I'm not a pile all the dishes on top of everything that I've already used. That way you will not do the dishes the right way.
Yeah, that's fair. There you go. You're getting Cowboys insight and some kitchen advice.
Yeah,
Bryan Broaddus.
Hit me on that crawfish cook one time if you want. I'll be happy to help you with that crawfish.
Broaddus, I never can make that, and
I'll teach you. I'll teach you how to do that. We'll do it one day.
All right, there you go. Bryan Broaddus here, joining us. Thanks so much, Bryan. I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Hey, and happy that at least we're playing some baseball for you. I can't wait to hear you on the pregame shows, postgame shows, but even when you get to do the baseball games yourself, you do a heck of a job, man. And I have a feeling one day that I'll be hearing you. I hope it's with the Texas Rangers one day, but I hope we don't lose you to the Dodgers or the Diamondbacks or somewhere like that. But you would surely deserve to be one of those broadcasters.
I appreciate it, Ross. I hope so as well. Trust me.